The iron gate feels colder than it should on Christmas Eve. I stand here in the freezing rain, my fingers wrapped around the bars like a child pressing her face against a candy store window. Except I'm not looking at something sweet. I'm looking at the place that was supposed to be home, watching the warm golden light spill from every window of the Greenwich estate while my breath fogs in the December air. My hand reaches for the door handle of my Subaru. 10 years old, dented on the passenger side from that time I clipped a mailbox during a snowstorm. But I paid for it? I stammer, reaching for the metal. Every payment. For 5 years. Preston's hand shoots through the bars and snatches the keys before I can close my fingers around them. Paid through the corporate leasing structure using pre-tax bonuses. His voice is flat, businesslike, the same tone he uses when firing employees. Technically, you signed over the title to the holding company 3 years ago for tax efficiency. Remember? You no longer work for us. You don't get the perks. He turns his back. Just turns and walks away, my keys jingling in his palm like loose change. The sound fades as he climbs the front steps, and I'm left gripping my small suitcase, watching him disappear into the house without a backward glance. I should move. I know I should move. But some stupid part of me is still waiting for him to come back. 1 hour ago, I walked through those gates thinking I'd sleep in my old room tonight. Thinking maybe Christmas morning would feel normal, or at least familiar. I'd lost my PR job 3 days before the holiday when the company merged and my entire department got sliced away like fat from a roast. The severance was enough for 2 months' rent somewhere, maybe 3 if I was careful, but I needed time to figure out where that somewhere would be. I thought I had time. Instead, I walked into Kinsley's engagement party. Crystal chandeliers, a string quartet, 200 people in cocktail attire watching my baby sister show off her ring under soft romantic lighting, while I stood there in my work clothes, still damp from the subway. Preston tapped his champagne glass for silence right there in the foyer. He announced that the family trust, all $55 million of it, had been transferred entirely to Kinsley. Not split, not held for later, transferred. Final. Miranda has demonstrated a consistent pattern of professional failure, he said, his voice carrying across the marble floors. This family rewards success, not mediocrity. I begged. God, I hate remembering this part, but I begged. I asked if I could just stay for a few weeks, through the holidays, until I found a new position. I promised I'd be quiet, stay out of the way, help with anything they needed. Genevieve set down her wine glass with a sharp click. You're a burden, Miranda. We're not running a charity for failed adults. You need to leave. Tonight. The party went silent. 200 people watching me stand there with my purse still on my shoulder and my face burning. I left through the side door, grabbed the suitcase I'd packed that morning, the one I thought I'd unpack into my childhood dresser. Then, I walked to the front gate like an obedient daughter, because some habits break hard. That's where I am now, shivering. My wool coat soaking through at the shoulders where the rain finds every weak seam. The cold creeps down my spine in slow rivulets. I realized something then, standing at this gate in the dark. This is my fatal flaw. This moment right here. I'm still waiting for them to turn back. 5 minutes pass. Maybe 10. I lose track because my phone battery dies in my pocket, killed by the cold. The house lights turn off one by one. First the ballroom, then the dining room, then the upstairs bedrooms, winking out like stars at dawn. My mother's room goes dark last. I imagine her pulling the curtains closed, smoothing the duvet, settling into bed without a single thought of her daughter standing outside in sub-freezing rain. My finger hovers over the intercom button. I could buzz, could ask for just a blanket, a taxi, something. But the thought of hearing my father's voice crackle through that speaker, the satisfaction in his tone when he says no, makes my stomach twist. I grip the handle of my suitcase instead. The metal is so cold it burns. I feel it through my gloves, through my skin, straight down to the bone, but I hold on. I turn away from the gate, away from the house. Away from every Christmas morning and summer barbecue and graduation photo that happened behind those walls. Portchester is 3 miles east. I know because I used to drive past it on my way to the train station, back when I had a car, back when I had a job, back when I had a family. I start walking into the dark. The freezing rain turns the road into a black mirror reflecting nothing. My suitcase wheels catch on every crack in the pavement. Behind me, the estate disappears around a bend in the road, and I don't look back. Not once, because if I look back now, I might stand at that gate forever, waiting for someone who will never come. Portchester sits 3 miles from Greenwich, but the distance feels like crossing into another country. My feet have gone numb somewhere around mile 2. The freezing rain needles my face, and every step sends a jolt of pain through my ankles where my flats have rubbed the skin raw. The suitcase wheels keep jamming on chunks of ice, forcing me to drag it like I'm hauling a corpse. I pass a Motel 6 just after midnight. The neon sign flickers red and white, promising vacancy, and I think maybe this is where my luck turns. I still have the emergency credit card tucked in my wallet. The one Preston gave me years ago for true emergencies only. Getting locked out of your family home on Christmas Eve in sub-freezing temperatures seems to qualify. The night clerk looks half asleep behind bulletproof glass. He slides the card reader through the slot without making eye contact, and I watch the machine process for what feels like an hour. Then it beeps. Declined. Try again? My voice cracks. He swipes it twice more. Same result. Says here the card was reported stolen. He peers at his screen, then at me, his expression shifting to suspicion. About 20 minutes ago. 20 minutes. That would have been right after Preston took my car keys. Right after he walked back into the house and closed the door. My father called in a fraud report while I was walking in the rain. I leave without another word. What would I say? The clerk is already reaching for his phone, probably deciding whether to call the police about the soggy woman trying to use a stolen credit card. The bus stop on the edge of town offers the only shelter I can find. 3 walls of scratched plexiglass and a metal bench. I collapse onto it and feel the cold seep through my wet coat into my bones. My teeth chatter so hard I taste blood where I've bitten my cheek. That's when I hear the whimpering. A dog, maybe 40 pounds, tied to the post with a length of frayed rope. Its fur is matted and soaked through, and it's shaking worse than I am. Someone abandoned it here, just tied it up and left, the same way my family left me at the gate. I dig through my purse and find half a stale sandwich from 2 days ago. Turkey and Swiss on wheat bread, wrapped in wax paper. I crouch down and break off pieces, holding them out. The dog takes them gently, its tail giving a single grateful thump against the concrete. We match, I whisper, both of us thrown away on Christmas Eve. I share the entire sandwich, bite for bite. The dog presses against my leg when we finish, and I wrap my arm around it, stealing what little warmth we can give each other. That's when I notice the woman. She's sitting at the far end of the bench, tucked into the shadows. I didn't see her before, but now I can make out her shape. Elderly, maybe 70, wearing a thin house dress and wet bedroom slippers that have no business being outside. Her gray hair hangs in strings around her face. Cold night, she says. Her voice rattles like loose change in a tin can. The worst. I pull my coat tighter, but it's useless. The wool is completely soaked. Nice coat. She's shivering violently. Warm? It was warm. 3 hours ago, it was warm. I look at her slippers, at the house dress clinging to her thin frame, at the way her lips have gone blue at the edges. I stand up and shrug off the coat. It's the only thing of value I have left, the only barrier between me and hypothermia. Here, I drape it over her shoulders. She stares at me like I've just handed her $1 million. You'll freeze. You'll freeze faster. I sit back down in just my blouse and slacks, and the cold hits like a physical blow. The wind cuts through the wet fabric, and I start shaking so hard my vision blurs. But watching the old woman pull my coat tight around herself, seeing some color return to her face, makes the cold feel a little less like dying. 10 minutes pass, maybe 15. I'm starting to drift into that dangerous, sleepy feeling when headlights cut through the rain. Black SUVs, 3 of them, moving in formation like a presidential motorcade. They pull up to the bus stop with military precision, and a man in a dark suit steps out holding an umbrella. Miss Morris? His voice is Irish, clipped. I'm Declan O'Connor. Miss Vance would like a word. The elderly woman stands up. She's not shaking anymore. She removes my coat, and underneath she's wearing a perfectly dry cashmere sweater. The wet slippers are gone, replaced by leather boots that appeared from nowhere. Adelaide Vance. She extends her hand like we're meeting at a country club instead of a bus stop where I just gave away my last possession. You passed. No. My brain can't process what's happening. Passed what? The test. She gestures to Declan, who escorts me toward the middle SUV. I have a talent for finding people who choose freezing over watching someone else suffer. She pauses at the door of the SUV, glancing toward the empty road leading back to Greenwich. My security team has been tracking your father's movements all night. We knew he'd kicked you out. I wanted to see if you'd break or if you'd survive. Sitting on that bench was uncomfortable, but necessary to see your true character close up. The car's heated interior feels like stepping into heaven. Someone wraps a blanket around my shoulders, and Adelaide settles across from me, now looking every inch the billionaire she apparently is. Declan hands me a folder. Your credit report, Miss Morris. I open it with shaking hands and find my signature on a loan guarantee, $500,000 to Morris Holdings LLC. The date is 3 days ago. I never signed this. No, Adelaide says. Your father forged it. He needed a personal guarantor for a commercial loan that was already underwater. He used you as the fall guy before he kicked you out. The words hit like individual punches, not just disinherited, criminally liable. My father didn't just abandon me. He weaponized my existence. Something shifts inside my chest, not sadness. Clarity, cold and sharp as the December wind. You're not just homeless, Adelaide continues. You're facing $500,000 in fraudulent debt that could follow you for decades. Preston Morris isn't mean, dear. He's a criminal who monetized his daughter. She leans forward. I'm offering you $215,000 a year to train under me. 9 months of hell. But at the end, you'll have the skills and resources to survive what he did to you. I should feel desperate, grateful, overwhelmed. Instead, I feel strategic. I need power. I need money. Not to escape what Preston did, but to weaponize it right back at him. When do I start? Adelaide smiles. Right now. The first boardroom humiliation happens in February. I'm standing at the head of a marble conference table in downtown Manhattan, presenting Adelaide's proposal for mixed-income housing in South Bronx, when a developer in a gray suit cuts me off mid-sentence. Who did you say you were again? My throat closes. 6 months ago, I could command a room. Now I'm stumbling over basic introductions, my hands shaking as I grip the presentation remote. Miranda Morris, Executive Director of... Right, the trust fund kid. He leans back in his chair, arms crossed. Adelaide, with all due respect, this is a waste of our time. Send someone who actually knows construction. Adelaide doesn't defend me. She simply nods toward the door, and I gather my materials with burning cheeks while 12 people watch me leave like I'm a child being dismissed from the adult table. In the elevator going down, she finally speaks. How did that feel? Humiliating. Good. She presses the lobby button. Now you know what's at stake when you walk into the next one unprepared. The next morning, she hands me a stack of textbooks on forensic accounting and construction management. The pile reaches my chin. You have 3 months to master the basics, she says. After that, you'll shadow Declan on site inspections. I spend March through May drowning in load-bearing calculations and zoning ordinances. My apartment becomes a cave of highlighted pages and cold coffee. I learn to read blueprints in the dim light of 4 a.m. because that's the only quiet hour before Adelaide's car arrives at 6. The site inspections are worse. Declan hands me a hard hat and steel-toed boots on my first day at the construction site in Port Chester, the same town where Adelaide found me shivering at a bus stop 9 months ago. Keep up, he says, and walks into the mud without looking back. I learn that construction sites smell like diesel fuel and wet concrete, that contractors don't soften their language for women in pencil skirts, that my Yale degree means absolutely nothing when I can't tell the difference between rebar and conduit. By June, my hands stop looking like they belong to someone who once got weekly manicures. The calluses form slowly, earned through holding clipboards in the rain and climbing scaffold stairs in the summer heat. Adelaide assigns me Project Beacon in July. It's her affordable housing initiative, 20 units for single mothers transitioning out of shelters. The budget is tight. The timeline is impossible. The location is a forgotten lot in Port Chester that floods every time it rains. Fix it? Adelaide says, and leaves me standing in ankle-deep water with a drainage problem and 3 contractors who won't return my calls. I fix it. Not because I'm naturally gifted, but because failure means proving Preston right. I spend August learning pump systems and French drains. I negotiate with suppliers who try to overcharge me until I show them I've done my homework. I earn the respect of my crew by showing up before them every morning and leaving after they do, my rubber boots caked in the same mud that covers their work clothes. By September, we're ahead of schedule. The foundation is poured. The framing is up. I stand in what will someday be someone's kitchen and feel something unfamiliar. Pride, maybe, or just relief that I haven't failed yet. That's when Kinsley finds me. I'm inspecting the electrical rough-in on a Thursday afternoon when I hear the click of heels on plywood. She picks her way across the construction site like she's navigating a minefield, her phone already out and recording. Miranda? Her voice has that artificial sweetness she uses before drawing blood. Oh my God, is that really you? I'm wearing muddy jeans and a flannel shirt. My hair is pulled back in a ponytail that hasn't seen a salon in 9 months. My boots are covered in clay that won't come off no matter how hard I scrub. She circles me with her phone camera. This is so sad. My sister used to work in PR, and now she's literally digging ditches. She zooms in on my boots. The Morris legacy, everyone. How embarrassing. I should say something sharp, should defend myself, but the old instinct kicks in, the one that kept me silent through years of her casual cruelty, and I just stand there while she gets her footage. She posts it before she even leaves the site. By the time I'm back in my truck, my phone is exploding with notifications. The post has already been shared 200 times among Greenwich social circles. The comments roll in like punches. She really fell from grace. Imagine losing everything and ending up here. This is what happens when you disappoint your family. I sit in the truck with mud tracked across the floor mats and feel the shame creep up my neck like a rash. This is exactly what Preston predicted, that I'd fail, that I'd embarrass the family name, that I was always meant to be discarded. My phone rings. Adelaide. I saw the post, she says. I'm sorry. I'll figure out how to... Come to my office. Now. I drive to Manhattan expecting to be fired. Instead, Adelaide is sitting at her desk with Declan, both of them studying Kinsley's Instagram on a laptop screen. This is actually perfect, Adelaide says. I must look confused because Declan smirks. You're a PR executive, Miranda. So do PR. They're right. I spent 5 years crafting narratives for corporate clients. I know how to spin a story. More importantly, I know exactly how to make Kinsley look like the villain she actually is. I spend that evening filming a response video. Not in my apartment where the lighting is soft and forgiving, but back at the construction site, standing in the same mud where Kinsley ambushed me. My boots are still dirty, my flannel is still wrinkled, but my voice is steady. My sister is right. I'm not in PR anymore. I'm building affordable housing for single mothers, 20 families who need a safe place to raise their children. I turn the camera to show the framed building behind me. This is Project Beacon. If you think helping people is embarrassing, then yes, I'm deeply embarrassed. But if you think building something that matters is worth your time, we're accepting donations. I posted at 11 p.m. By morning, the tide has turned completely. The comments flood in, but they're different now. People are calling Kinsley elitist, shallow, out of touch. Someone creates a side-by-side comparison of her designer handbag collection and my mud-covered boots with the caption, "Guess which Morris sister is actually working?" The donation page for Project Beacon crashes from traffic. We raise $40,000 in 3 days. Adelaide finds me on site the following Monday. You see it now, don't you? See what? That her opinion has no power unless you give it power. She's right. For the first time since that Christmas Eve, I realize I'm not waiting for my family's approval anymore. I have Adelaide. I have Declan. I have a crew of contractors who respect me because I earned it, not because my last name used to mean something. I have 20 future tenants whose children will grow up in homes I helped build. Kinsley's post was supposed to destroy me. Instead, it just proved how far I've already come. I'm finishing my site inspection that afternoon when Declan pulls me aside near the construction trailer. His expression is dark. We need to talk about your father. He hands me his tablet. On the screen is a security photo from a Manhattan restaurant, grainy but clear enough. Preston sitting across from a man in an expensive suit, Julian Thorne. I recognize him from the financial news, though his company has a dozen different names depending on which article you read. Quantum Energy Tech is the current one. Thorne's fund is under federal investigation, Declan says quietly. Your father is trying to clear his debts with a miracle investment. I look at the photo again. Preston is leaning forward, eager, desperate. The same expression he had when he snatched my keys through the gate, like he's entitled to take whatever he needs to save himself. I hand the tablet back to Declan, and something cold settles in my chest. Not anger, not even satisfaction, just clarity. How long until it collapses? I ask. 6 months, maybe less. I nod slowly, watching the construction crew pack up their tools as the sun sets behind the buildings. Then we have time to prepare. Declan studies my face. You're not going to warn him. It's not a question. No, I say. I'm going to watch. That day at Adelaide's office, Declan slides the manila folder across Adelaide's mahogany desk like he's dealing cards at a poker table. The motion is smooth, practiced. I've learned to read his tells over the past months. When he moves like that, slow and deliberate, he's found something that makes him furious. Quantum energy tech, he says. Your father's been meeting with Julian Thorne twice a week for the past month. I flip open the folder. Investment prospectus. Glossy photos of solar panels that probably exist nowhere except in a graphic designer's computer. Projected returns that would make Bernie Madoff blush. It's a Ponzi scheme, Adelaide says from her chair by the window. She doesn't phrase it as a question. FBI's been building a case for 8 months. Declan taps a page near the bottom. They're waiting for Thorne to collect enough deposits to make the charges stick. Maybe another 2 months before they move. I study the minimum investment requirement. $500,000, the exact amount Preston owes on the loan he forged in my name, plus interest. The math is too clean to be coincidence. He's desperate. I close the folder. He thinks this is his way out. We could warn him. Adelaide's voice carries no conviction. She knows what I'm about to say. If we warn him, he'll know we've been watching. He'll scramble. Might even try to implicate me further in his debt. I stand, walk to the window. Below, construction crews are framing the final building of Project Beacon. Drywall going up on affordable housing that will actually help people instead of lining some con artist's pockets. We need him to commit fully. So we do nothing? Declan sounds skeptical. We create the conditions for him to destroy himself. I turn back to face them. He just needs the right push. The lawsuit arrives 3 days later. I'm reviewing permit applications when my phone buzzes. A process server caught me leaving the construction site, handed me the papers with an apologetic shrug. I read them standing in the parking lot while cement dust settles on my boots. Morris Holdings, LLC v. Miranda Morris. Violation of non-disclosure agreement. Damages sought, $100,000. The NDA in question is from 6 years ago, a boilerplate document I signed when Preston made me a junior analyst at his company. I'd organized files and made coffee for 18 months before he decided I wasn't executive material, and shuffled me into a different career path. The agreement was standard legal protection, nothing sensitive, nothing I'd ever had reason to violate. This lawsuit is harassment. Pure spite, wrapped in legal letterhead. But it's also something else. I read between the lines, calculate the timing. Preston needs liquid cash for Thorne's scheme. The mansion is leveraged to the foundation, and banks won't touch him after the forged loan scandal nearly went public. This lawsuit isn't about justice. It's about extracting money from the only source he has left, his daughter's new salary. I drive straight to Adelaide's estate. She reads the complaint twice, her expression hardening. "This is extortion," she says finally. It's desperation disguised as power. I sit across from her, my hands steady on my knees. He needs $100,000 to complete his buy-in with Thorne. The mansion equity gets him to $400,000. This lawsuit covers the gap. You want to settle? Adelaide doesn't sound surprised. Immediately. No negotiations. Full amount. Declan looks up from his laptop where he's been researching the claims. That makes you look weak. Your father will think he can squeeze you anytime he needs cash. Good. I meet his eyes. Let him think that. Understanding dawns across Adelaide's face. She sets down the papers, leans back in her chair. A smile touches the corner of her mouth, the kind you'd see on a chess master who's just spotted checkmate in 6 moves. You're handing him the rope, she says. I'm handing him exactly enough rope. I pull out my phone, start drafting an email to my lawyer. He thinks I'm paying because I'm terrified, because I know my place. But what I'm really doing is ensuring he has no excuse not to invest every penny he can scrape together. The settlement conference happens in a gray corporate office that smells like old carpet and desperate attorneys. Preston arrives with Genevieve and their lawyer, a tired man who looks like he's regretting his retainer agreement. They're dressed for battle. Preston in his power suit, Genevieve in pearls that probably cost more than my monthly rent used to. I wear mud-stained work pants and a Project Beacon polo shirt. Came straight from the construction site without changing. The contrast is deliberate. Preston's lawyer starts with the usual posturing. Violation of trust, damage to company reputation, the sanctity of binding agreements. I let him talk for exactly 4 minutes before I interrupt. We'll pay the full amount. Today. The room goes silent. Preston's lawyer blinks twice, like he's misheard. You're not going to negotiate? Preston sounds almost disappointed. He'd been gearing up for a fight, probably had a whole speech prepared about family loyalty and respect. No point. I sign the settlement agreement without reading it. My own lawyer shifts uncomfortably beside me, but he's been briefed. He knows this is strategy, not surrender. Transfer the funds this afternoon. I stand to leave. Genevieve is staring at me with something between confusion and contempt. She'd expected tears, maybe begging. Instead, I'm checking my phone for messages from the site foreman. Smart choice, Miranda. Preston's voice follows me to the door. Maybe you're finally learning how the world works. I pause, turn back, let myself look directly at him for the first time since we sat down. My expression is calm, neutral. The face I've practiced in the mirror for situations exactly like this. Sometimes the best move is no move at all, I say. His brow furrows slightly. He doesn't understand. That's fine. He will. Back in my car, I sit in the parking garage for a full minute before starting the engine. My hands aren't shaking. My breathing is steady. 10 months ago, I would have been crying right now, devastated by their contempt, crushed by this public humiliation. Instead, I feel nothing but cold clarity. I text Declan. It's done. Money transfers in 3 hours. His response comes immediately. Thorne's office confirmed Preston has an appointment tomorrow morning. Wire transfer scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. I allow myself a small smile. The pieces are moving exactly as predicted. Preston gets his settlement money by dinner. Combines it with the high-interest hard money loan he took against the mansion last week, the one with the immediate foreclosure clause buried in Section 14 of the contract. Declan found that detail yesterday, highlighted it in yellow. By tomorrow night, Preston will have dumped everything into Julian Thorne's investment fund. Everything. The house, the settlement, probably Genevieve's jewelry, if he can liquidate it fast enough, and in about 8 weeks, the FBI will freeze every asset Thorne controls. I pull out of the parking garage into afternoon traffic. My phone buzzes with a text from Kinsley, posted to her Instagram story 10 minutes ago. Sister paid up without a fight. Guess she finally knows her place. Some people are born leaders, others are born followers. Family hierarchy. Know your worth. The post already has 3,000 likes. Comments flooding in from Greenwich Society, people I used to know. They think they're watching my humiliation. They have no idea they're watching me hand my father the shovel he'll use to bury himself. I just handed them the shovel. All of them. And they're so eager to start digging they can't see the ground crumbling beneath their feet. The trap is armed. Now I just wait for it to spring. The call comes on a Tuesday morning in late November, a month after I handed Preston that settlement check. I'm reviewing architectural plans for Project Beacon's second phase when my assistant knocks. Miss Morris, your family is in the lobby. They don't have an appointment. I glance at Declan, who's leaning against my office doorframe. His expression doesn't change, but I catch the slight lift of his eyebrow. We both know what this means. The FBI raided quantum energy tech this morning, he says quietly. Confirmed Ponzi scheme. Assets frozen. There it is, the trap. Sprung exactly as predicted. Send them up, I tell my assistant. I don't stand when they enter. That's the first thing Preston notices. I can see it register on his face, the shock that I'm not jumping to greet him, not offering coffee, not smoothing over the awkwardness with nervous chatter like I used to. They look terrible. Preston's shirt is wrinkled, missing a button at the collar. Genevieve's makeup is smeared under her eyes. Kinsley's hair, usually flat ironed to perfection, hangs limp and unwashed. Miranda. Preston's voice cracks on my name. We need to talk. Family business. I gesture to the chairs across from my desk. They sit. I wait. There's been a misunderstanding with an investment, Preston starts. His hands shake as he grips the armrests. A temporary liquidity issue. The hard money loan on the house has an acceleration clause, and we need bridge financing. $3,500,000. Just for 30 days until we can restructure. I let the silence stretch. 5 seconds. 10. Preston's jaw tightens. We're family, Genevieve adds. Her voice is thin, reedy. You have resources now. Adelaide Vance's resources. Surely the foundation can... The Vance Foundation, I interrupt, is a charitable organization with a fiduciary duty to serve its mission. I cannot authorize personal loans to family members using donor funds. Don't give me that corporate double talk, Preston snaps. Some of his old authority surfaces, that edge in his voice that used to make me flinch. You're the incoming CEO. You have discretion. You could help us if you wanted to. Could I? I lean back in my chair. Walk me through the math, Dad. You took the $100,000 from our settlement and invested it with Julian Thorne. You also took out a hard money loan against the Greenwich house. What was the interest rate on that loan? His face goes pale. 18%, I continue, with an immediate foreclosure clause upon default. You put everything into quantum energy tech. And now the FBI has frozen those assets because Thorne was running a Ponzi scheme. How much of the house payment did you miss? We can fix this, Genevieve whispers. We just need time. You thought I settled that lawsuit because I was weak. I keep my voice level, almost gentle. You thought I paid you that money because I was terrified of you, because I knew my place. Kinsley's head snaps up. You did know your place. You paid up like... I gave you exactly enough rope to hang yourselves. The words come out flat, factual. I knew you needed liquid cash for Thorne's scheme. The minimum buy-in was $100,000. You'd already leveraged everything else. I didn't push you off the cliff, Dad. I just stepped out of the way while you ran toward it. Preston surges to his feet. You set us up. You knew it was a scam. I suspected it was a scam. You're the one who did zero due diligence. You're the one who signed mortgage documents with predatory terms. You made every choice here. This is extortion, Preston shouts. You manipulated us into... Into what? Making a bad investment? Taking out a risky loan? I didn't forge your signature on anything. The last word lands with weight. We both know what I'm referencing. I didn't commit fraud. I just gave you money and watched you destroy yourselves with it. Genevieve is crying now, mascara streaming down her cheeks. Please, we'll lose everything. The house is all we have. You have each other, I say. Isn't that what you told me? Family helps family? Kinsley pulls out her phone, hands trembling. Her eyes are darting around the room, manic. She looks like a trapped animal trying to find a way out, thinking if she can just control the narrative before the FBI press release hits the evening news, she can save herself. I'm going live right now. She threatens, her thumb hovering over the app. I'm telling everyone what you're doing. Everyone will know you let your own family become homeless. Go ahead. I nod toward her phone. She fumbles with the screen, props it against a stack of files. The red light blinks on. Hey guys, so I'm here in my sister's office. Kinsley starts, her voice shaking. She's the new CEO of this huge foundation, and she's refusing to help our family even though we're about to lose our house. She has millions of dollars and she won't. Declan steps forward and places a manila folder on my desk. I open it, though I already know what's inside. Screenshots. Dozens of them. Kinsley's old Instagram posts about me. The construction site photo. Comments calling me pathetic, a failure, an embarrassment to the Morris name. And behind those, more screenshots. Direct messages from Kinsley to her friends, laughing about how they'd bled Miranda dry with the lawsuit. How stupid I'd been to pay up so easily. Your followers might be interested in some context. I say quietly. About how you spent the last year mocking me online. About how that settlement you celebrated was intended to fund a Ponzi scheme. Kinsley's face goes white. She grabs for her phone, but the damage is done. The live stream is already filling with comments. I can see them scrolling past on her screen before she kills the feed. Preston tries one last time. He doesn't shout now. His voice is small, broken. You're my daughter. I was your daughter. I correct. Christmas Eve. Outside the gate. That's when I stopped. We made mistakes, Genevieve whispers. Parents make mistakes. You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. You chose Kinsley. You chose the money. You chose to lock me out in freezing rain after forging my name on a loan document. Those weren't mistakes. Those were decisions. The silence that follows is thick and heavy. Preston's shoulders sag. All that arrogance, that absolute certainty that he was entitled to my help, crumbles into something pathetic and desperate. The foreclosure proceedings start in 72 hours, Declan says from the doorway. You should consult with a bankruptcy attorney. They leave without another word. Preston can't even look at me. Genevieve stumbles, and Kinsley has to steady her. Through my office window, I watch them cross the parking lot to a dented sedan, nothing like the Mercedes they used to drive. Within hours, Kinsley's Instagram explodes. Not with sympathy, with rage. People dig up every cruel post she ever made about me. Screenshots of the settlement celebration circulate with hashtags about karma and schadenfreude. By evening, Greenwich society groups are buzzing. The Morris family isn't just broke, they're pariahs. The house forecloses within a week. I don't attend the auction. Declan sends me a photo, though. The estate I grew up in, empty and dark, with a bank seizure notice on the door. They scatter after that. Different cheap apartments in different towns. Kinsley moves in with a friend from college. Preston and Genevieve rent a one-bedroom in Stamford, sleeping on a pull-out sofa because they can't afford furniture. I feel nothing when I hear these details. Not satisfaction, not guilt. Just a vast, clean emptiness where my family used to live inside my chest. The ballroom doors of the new Vance Foundation headquarters slide open with a whisper, revealing 200 guests in evening wear. Project Beacon's grand opening. Christmas Eve. Exactly 1 year since I stood outside those iron gates with nothing but a suitcase and frozen fingers. I smooth the charcoal silk of my dress, feeling the weight of Adelaide's emerald pendant at my throat. It belonged to her mother. She clasped it around my neck an hour ago without ceremony, just a brief squeeze of my shoulder that said more than words could. You've done something remarkable here, she says now, standing beside me as we survey the crowd. 76 years old and sharper than anyone half her age. 40 families housed, employment programs running, and you managed it under budget. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I can see the completed housing complex. Lights glowing in every unit, families unpacking boxes, children running through hallways. The single mothers I worked alongside for 9 months, the ones who taught me that dignity isn't inherited, it's built with your own hands in the mud. Declan appears at my elbow, his expression carefully neutral. We have a situation at the entrance. I know before he says it. Some part of me has been waiting for this all night. The Morris family attempted to enter without invitations. They're claiming they're here to network with potential donors. His mouth tightens. Your father is wearing a suit that's seen better days. Your mother keeps adjusting her coat. Your sister is filming the whole thing. And I informed them they're on the permanent exclusion list. He hands me 3 vouchers, the paper crisp between my fingers. I offered them these. Soup kitchen, 3 blocks south. Open until 10. The only help Miss Morris is willing to offer. I take the vouchers, feeling their weight. Not much, just enough. Adelaide touches my arm. You don't have to see them. But I do. Some part of me needs to look through that glass one final time. I walk to the mezzanine overlook. The floor-to-ceiling glass wall offers a perfect, silent view of the circular drive below, separating the warmth of the gala from the freezing night outside. Preston stands under the portico lights, his shoulders hunched against the cold. Genevieve clutches her purse like it might fly away. Kinsley holds her phone at arm's length, trying to get the building in frame, probably preparing some post about being wrongfully excluded. They look small from up here, ordinary. Just 3 people who made bad choices and are living with the consequences. Preston sees me. He looks up, locking eyes with me through the thick, soundproof glass. His face shifts, and he pushes forward, but Declan steps smoothly into his path. I watch my father's mouth move, see him gesture emphatically. Then he points up at me, and his expression crumbles into something that might be desperation or might be rage. Hard to tell from this distance. His lips form words I can read even through the glass. Your mother would want. I don't turn away dramatically. I simply step back from the window, letting the heavy velvet curtains obscure his view of me. I turn toward the warmth and light, and 200 people who chose to show up tonight because they believe in what we've built. Through the glass, I catch one last glimpse of Declan handing Preston the vouchers. I see my father crumple them in his fist. I see Genevieve pull her coat tighter as freezing rain begins to fall, the same December storm that seems to come every year like clockwork. They turn away into the cold night. Into the dark, into whatever comes next for people who mistake their children for ATM machines. I don't feel anger, don't feel satisfaction, don't feel much of anything except the pleasant weight of Adelaide's necklace and the warmth of the room at my back. Miss Morris? One of the Project Beacon mothers approaches with her daughter, a gap-toothed 6-year-old in a velvet dress. We wanted to thank you. Maya starts at her new school in January. I kneel down to the girl's level. This child who will grow up in a warm home because 40 people decided to build something better. You're going to do amazing things. Later, after the speeches and champagne toasts, I stand alone on the balcony with my glass. The housing complex spreads below, every window glowing gold against the December dark. Families visible in snapshots through curtains. A woman stirring something on a stove, a man lifting a toddler overhead. Teenagers sprawled on a couch watching television. They took my keys. I built an empire. They wanted me frozen out. I learned to generate my own warmth. The glass in my hand catches the light. I raise it toward the complex, toward Adelaide inside discussing expansion plans, toward every single person who showed up tonight. Toward myself, standing here on solid ground I built with my own bleeding hands.